The canals of Little Venice shimmered under a rare London sun. Old Mr. Gilbert, his face etched with the hardships of years and loss, shuffled down the towpath. He was a frail figure, his clothes worn thin, a testament to the quiet poverty that clung to him since the war. He lived in a tiny, ramshackle cottage, a stark contrast to the elegant houseboats and manicured gardens that bordered the waterways. His life was a constant ache, a reminder of his son and daughter-in-law, lost fighting for a peace they never got to enjoy. But then there was Peter. Peter, his grandson, a bright spark in the dimness of his existence. Thanks to the generosity of some kind souls, Peter was attending a prestigious public school in London. The letter from Peter, delivered by a somewhat bewildered postman who clearly wondered how such a smart lad could possibly belong in this corner of the world, had been Mr. Gilbert's joy for weeks. "Grandfather," Peter wrote in neat looping script, "winter holiday starts next week. Please come and pick me up." He'd endured the train journey, a bewildering experience after years of not leaving Little Venice, and the bustling city seemed to swallow him whole. But seeing Peter, taller and more confident in his school uniform, had made it all worthwhile. Returning to the village, Peter was instantly swallowed up by his friends. Laughter and shouts echoed along the canal as they raced around, planning their Christmas celebrations. Adam bragged about his new bicycle, others about the toys and games they were expecting. When they turned to Peter, his face clouded over. "What will your grandpa get you, Peter?" Adam asked, a knowing smirk on his face. His family knew of Mr. Gilbert's circumstances. Peter hesitated. He knew that money was scarce, that his grandfather barely had enough to keep them fed. He also knew the sting of being the poor boy, the one who always went without. "A new coat and suit," Peter said, forcing a smile. "Grandpa's getting me a new coat and suit." The laughter died down, replaced by disbelief. "Really, Peter?" Adam challenged. He held his ground. "Yes, you'll see on Christmas Day." The truth gnawed at him all evening. Back at the cottage, he confronted his grandfather. "I need a new coat and suit for Christmas, Grandpa," he pleaded. "Everyone's laughing at me." Mr. Gilbert's heart sank. "Peter, you know we're poor. A new coat and suit. It's so costly." "But I need it, Grandpa. Everyone will laugh." The old man looked at Peter, at the pleading in his young eyes, and felt a desperate helplessness. It was the first time Peter had ever really asked for something. I don't know, Peter. I just don't know." Days blurred by, filled with Peter's increasingly desperate inquiries. The day before Christmas, he begged, "Tomorrow I want my new dress." Mr. Gilbert, defeated, could only say, "Peter, please pray to Santa Claus. Maybe he will gift it to you." He remembered a worn, out-of-style coat and suit from his own younger days, long since faded and moth-eaten. Perhaps a tailor could work a miracle. He crept out in the dark, hoping to find a tailor open. But every shop window was dark, adorned with festive decorations, closed for the holidays. He returned home, his shoulders slumped with despair. That night Peter prayed fervently. "Dear Jesus and Santa Claus," he whispered, "please, please, please send me a new coat and suit." The next morning, Christmas Day, Peter into his grandfather's room, his face alight with joy. "Grandpa, Grandpa, wake up, there's a present!" Mr. Gilbert, still heavy with worry, sat up groggily. Outside the door sat a beautifully wrapped package. "What's this?" he mumbled. "It's a gift! I think Santa Claus gave it to me! I prayed so hard!" With trembling hands, they unwrapped the package. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a brand-new, perfectly tailored coat and suit. Peter whooped with delight. "Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, Jesus and Santa Claus." Mr. Gilbert was stunned. He had no idea where it could have come from. He took Peter to church, his mind racing. The service felt like a dream. Back home, Peter eagerly donned the new coat and suit. It fit him perfectly. He rushed out to meet his friends, his face beaming with pride. As Peter played, Mr. Gilbert, still bewildered, began preparing Christmas lunch. He spotted his neighbor, Mr. Williams, tending his garden. Mr. Williams, a kind man who had always offered silent support, offering occasional cups of tea and a friendly word. "Happy Christmas, Williams," Mr. Gilbert called out. "Happy Christmas, Gilbert," Williams replied, but his voice sounded a little strained. "You seem a little perplexed." Mr. Gilbert recounted the story of the new coat and suit, his voice laced with confusion. Williams chuckled. "Perhaps your and your grandson's prayers reached Jesus directly. Don't dwell on it, Gilbert. Just enjoy the Christmas celebration." He paused. "And I was planning to visit our usual coffee shop this evening. Dinner is my treat." Only then did Mr. Gilbert realize Williams had been the one. He remembered seeing Williams outside the tailor shop a few days earlier. It all made sense. Christmas evening, Mr. Gilbert met Williams and their other friends at the coffee shop. They reminisced, shared stories, and laughed until their sides ached. He knew he would never be able to truly express his gratitude to Williams. Simple words felt inadequate. Meanwhile, out in the village, Peter and his friends continued their Christmas celebrations, their laughter and music echoing through the crisp winter air. Peter, warm in his new coat and suit, felt like he belonged. He had received the greatest gift of all, the feeling of being accepted and loved. And Mr. Gilbert, watching him from afar, felt a peace he hadn't known since the war, a quiet understanding of the true meaning of Christmas, a season of generosity, kindness, and the unwavering love that bound their little community together in the heart of Little Venice. Happy Christmas indeed.